Hey ladies and gents, this is Linda Chic777 and today I'm coming at you with 2017 Christmas Craft Bazaar Q&A and a couple of small short tutorials. I'm getting a lot of questions, of course, as I knew I would, on some, particulars to some of the craft items I've done, of course, and then just some, questions in general about doing craft bazaars. So the first thing I'm going to do is the two most requested tutorials. One of them was my snowman pail. I wished I would have one to show you. This is just a cute ornament to look at while I talk for a minute. And then the other, a lot of you are asking about, because I talked about on my snowman and the hats and things, how I bake them in the oven, so you're wondering what the process was for that. So let's start with the snowman pail tutorial. It was the pail where I had all like the pail looked like a snowman, and then I had, like nail polishes and stuff like that in them. I usually run that pail around $12. If I can stuff it really full. If not, I'll run it for about $9.50. And sells really well in our area. Looks really cute. Let's get started. So the first thing you need, of course, is a can. I have a friend, she, as I mentioned in the previous video, she saves her cans for me. These are like mixed nuts cans. Other cans you can get, if you drink like Slim Fast, the cans for that. But most often, a lot of people like these mixed nuts cans are perfect. Has a nice opening to get a nice amount of stuff in there, but not too much that you have to spend so much. So, outside looking like a snowman. First thing you want to do, there's two options. So if you want to go with the can to cover, that's what we're going to do. The other option is just to make the bag on its own. It's two different processes. So let's start with covering the can. Really easy. So, I would suggest like covering the can. You can get really cute like fleece fabrics and stuff like that. But if you want to go cheap, use felt. These are like 24 cents. You probably need a couple of them. At Walmart, 24 cents or so. You probably need a couple of them to cover. And if you want it more like textured to look snowy, just take like a toothbrush and brush the top of the felt, and it'll just get real fuzzy and puffy and look really cute and textured for the snowman pail. So the bottom of it, basically we want to cover the bottom and the sides. That's all we're looking for. So I would suggest going around the bottom of the pail and maybe just about a half an inch out. So let me grab a pencil here, and we're just going to freehand basically around. See, yes, I'm in view a little bit. I got a lot of stuff piled around me here, so, and I would just freehand right around the edge. Probably if I wasn't on video, I wouldn't even pencil it. I would just kind of hold the can in my hand and do it that way. So kind of about a half an inch out of the can, kind of draw a circle. Like I said, this is El Cheapo felt. Once we get done with the little tutorials, if you want to stick around and kind of listen to the Q&A, please do so. If you don't, you're free to move about the cabin. Free to go watch some other videos, but these were the two most requested. The other one that, there's actually two other ones that were requested about the new year. At some point I will show you how to do the paper transfer method onto wood, which is what I did on my home decor signs. There are a lot of tutorials here on YouTube, but I will surely be glad to show you. Okay, not a perfect circle, doesn't have to be. In fact, it doesn't even really look like a circle, possibly an oval. Oh, I have to fix it just a little bit. Okay. And then the other one, I would totally have showed you, but I don't have the supplies to do it. And it was my nativity ornament made out of clothespins. But try to remember that for next year. I'm sure I will, because they sold out quick, so I'll probably make some more. Okay, so we have our sort of makeshift circle. Glue I'm using, this is actually called Fabri-Fix. It was at Hobby Lobby. I went to get Fabri-Tac, be perfect because you are working with fabric. You can find this at Walmart. The big bottles at Walmart, the 8 ounces was like $9.97 in our area. They have the smaller 6-ounce bottles for like 4-ounce bottles for $6.97. But for, you know, $3 more, I get twice the price. So I always go for the big bottle. But anyway, I was at Hobby Lobby and I went to go get Fabri-Tac and all they had was Fabri-Fix, which I'd never used before. But I'm like, it's the same company. It's the same thing. It's permanent adhesive. Smelled the exact same. $10.99. I bought it. Works just like, you know, the same thing. A glued fabric, lace, leather, that kind of stuff. Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is come along the bottom here. We're going to add our glue. You can choose, which I might do, not here on video, but on the can there is kind of that little, you know, you've got that little space between the bottom and the can and the lip. You can like fill it in with like a piece of this felt just to kind of fill in the space and then glue right on top. But for the sake of this video, you know, that way you don't have that kind of indent look. Probably hard to, there you go, you kind of, that you won't have that indent look. I would probably do that. I'd probably cut a piece of felt in the center and then cut this other piece, start with that, and then cut this piece that we're doing here. To go around the outside of the can, a lot of you, you know, you may not know it, beginners, you need to go around, we cut it an extra ½ inch or so around because we want to cut slits going around that fabric. I'm going to get my fabric scissors here. Those are my craft scissors, and I've cut wire and everything under the sun with that. So these work much nicer. Just about, you know, this is more than an inch, but about every inch, inch and a half, something like that. It could be about an inch here. I would just make slits going all the way around. Okay. Okay. Then what we're going to do is take where we've got our slits and we're going to bring the slits, help us to come down around the can, okay, and cover it very nicely. So what we're going to do, and I'll start it out here and show you, and then I'll come back. I'll do the rest off camera, but so bead a glue, and you're just going to lay down your little slits onto that glue. And I usually will kind of go every other slit at first. That, and they do pop back up, so it takes a bit. That's why I'm going to do it the rest off camera. You know, because you got to hold them down for just a minute to get them to set. So I go about every other one, and then I take the one over the top and kind of overlay it down. But if you want to just squish them all down at once, then by all means you can do that too. It does work. But so the slits help us to go around that circular edge, basically. Okay. And I'll just get a little more glue. My glue is like seeping around the rest of this. We'll squish it down. Yeah, and it's probably, I mean, I have, like when I do my hats and stuff, I will sit and make sure I overlap really nicely and make sure I get a nice clean edge. But something like this, you will, if you just smush it down, you'll find some will smush down, and then some, when you go to smush down, will overlap onto that fabric. See what I'm saying? So just as you smush it down, it will overlap. So keep going all the way around. Get that all nice and glued down. And with this Fabri-Tac, it doesn't take long for it to grab a nice hold there. So I will be right back, probably within 30 seconds, but you won't know because it's all going to be edited. One moment, please. Okay, so I have my sides, everything is all down. You can see how it overlaps, everything's all glued down. Now we just have to cover this side real easy. If you're using these little like square pieces of felt, you know, you could go buy like a ½ yard of felt, be perfect. If you're trying to just get rid of off really cheap, you know, 50 cents, do a can. My cans don't quite fit all the way around, so what I cut now, I'm going to cut 2 of. Okay, and you just kind of come down and measure to the bottom of your can. You want to make sure you cut your slit or cover your slits. Okay, and I need to backtrack and tell you, when you cut your slits, do not cut your slits all the way to the can. Okay, leave see how the slit goes here, and then I've still got a little bit of can left, just a little like 1/4 inch slit, because then when we go to cover this, and you bring that fabric down to the end of that, it won't go, you know, your fabric won't be here, and you'll see the slit coming out from the end of your fabric. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? In other words, it's not going to look like that. If you cut too far, to look like that. If you don't, it covers all of that up. Okay, so just nice little like 1/4 inch slits, just enough to kind of get that look all the way around. So now I'm just going to kind of measure what I need, just kind of eyeballing. And I don't, you can go to the, like on my can, I can stop right before that silver or go up above that silver. And I'll probably just kind of go right up above that. So I need, and actually I am going to go up above that. I'm going to go about 1/2 inch up above that can. This is what happens when you're doing it live, okay? I'm going to go about 1/2 inch above that can, and I'll tell you why. Is because we're going to make a nice cute little folded edge at the top. Okay, so I'm going to cut this way. I'm going off memory here, you guys, which is kind of why I like keep, you know, wait a minute, let's do it this way, because I don't have a bag sitting in front of me to just present a nice, pretty tutorial for you. You know, like I know what I'm doing. Like I said, since I'm using these little sheets, I have to cut 2, and we're going to just kind of piece them together. Okay, so I've got 2 here because my can's a little bit bigger. And let me see, I'm going to, my cut edge, I'll have that down. I want my nice straight edge, you know, fabric or factory cut straight edge down at the bottom. And you may want to do 2 layers, because see how you can kind of see the brown through the can. My other one I didn't care because the fabric I used was a little bit thicker than this. But look, we're just that tiny bit short. So you may want to put a layer underneath and a layer on top. It's all up to you. But since we're a little bit short, I'm actually just going to go 1/2 and 1/2 on the can. And we're going to make like side seams on our can. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. And I'm going to say right about there is 1/2 of my can. Okay. I'm just making a little slit there. I probably did that off camera. I made a tiny little slit where I wanted to cut so that I can cut them both the same. And I'm going to use my little lined pad down here to sort of give me a straight cut. Okay, got 2 edges there, and let's see. This is the nice factory edge, and this one is. Okay, so let's start gluing. I'm going to go ahead and glue on the fabric. We're going to stay, like I said, about 1/2 inch from the top on that glue at first. And I could probably do that part down here as well, but I'm going to show you not doing it that way, just in case somebody doesn't. Just staying 1/2 inch or so above the top. Let's get our first one on here first. Like I said, we're going to go right down to that lower bottom of the can. Nice little, right there, right along that lower edge, so it gives us a nice clean edge to the bottom. Okay, we're going to flip it over and do the same thing on this side, still keeping my factory nice straight cut edge at the bottom. Still keeping away from that top portion a little bit. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to get our nice little edging. I'm going to overlap just a bit on both sides. You can see where it overlaps just a bit. You can cut that if you like. I'll just leave it overlapped. I'm okay with it. See, and then we'll just have a nice little side seam down both sides of the can, and that's okay. Okay? Now you can see, obviously, we're above the can a little bit, and we didn't glue up to about here. So now what we're going to do is just make a nice little top seam here. Okay? We're going to top seam it just right down to the lid, just right up at the edge of that can. Okay? So let's first get it folded down here. Nice little lip here. Okay. And then what you want to do, I'll glue it off camera, save time, is get your little lip there all the way down and then just put glue right underneath that edge and glue that all the way down so you have a nice little seam. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so we have nice little covered can. Now this is the unsewn version, you guys. This is just purely all glue for people out there that aren't sewers. This little bit, not worried about that. That kind of stuff is going to get covered. See, I didn't quite match up there. That is okay. So next thing we want to do, like I said, it's going to get covered, is we want to make a handle. The handle is just about 12 inches long, which is just about the length of this, you know, piece of felt, this pre-cut felt you bought. I would double it, and then I would glue it just to give it nice strength. So I would go about 2 inches out, okay, and then I would double it, and then I would glue it to give it strength, okay? So I'm going to do that, and see how quick we got it going here. So I'm going to cut it out right here. Right, and then so you got a piece about this big. Then I would glue it. I would glue it down near the edge, not just in the middle. You don't have to probably go through the middle. You just basically on like half of it. So I've got glue here, and then I'm going to come down this way, right along that edge. And then kind of the halfway mark there. And then I would just fold it over and glue. And this, like I said, would be really cute if it was fuzzy. If you took like an old toothbrush or something, fuzzy it out, really super cute. Make a really nice fuzzy snowman, super cute. Okay, now, we've got our nice little handle, not worrying about the edges or anything like that. Let me backtrack a moment, if you're a sewer and you're working on this can, I wouldn't worry about the bottom, but I would probably, before I glued the fabric down, I probably, on both pieces, the felt down, I probably would have sewed right along the perimeter on each piece on the bottom. And then I would have went ahead, before I glued down this top, I would flip it down, you know, about a 1/4 inch or so, and I would sew the top so that's all flipped down, and then I would glue both pieces on. So do you understand what I'm saying? If you're a sewer and you want the cuteness of the sewing, those 2 pieces, or unless you have one full piece, I would sew along the perimeter of the bottom. I'd flip it this top over and make your little fold, and I would sew right along the center of that little fold there, and then I would glue your 1 or 2 pieces on, okay? And then if you've got the handle, I would go ahead and probably just sew around the entire perimeter of this handle, okay? All right, so, but we're working non-gluer for those of us who, you know, those of you who don't sew. Now we want to do our bottom here, okay? So what you'll do is glue in, and actually I just want to see a little bit. Yeah, and I probably am going to go down just for my peace of mind, because I think I was over 1 inch or so. I'm going to cut down just a little bit on this. Let's just measure. Yeah, I was over 1 inch. I was about 1 1/4 inches. I thought it looked a little bit wide to me. I would just make sure you're about 1 inch, because any bigger than that, then we can't hide it very well, okay? So then what you do is, now we're just going to glue our handle on, Those of you who sewed, who've already done your sewing, we're going to glue our handles on right at that seam. It's going to hide that little edge here if you had to do 2 pieces. Make sure it looks really good across. We're going to come to the other edge. We're going to glue that little bit. Okay, just like that. Now we have a cute little handle. I know all these edges, no worries. Now we have a cute little handle, so we're going to make sure, see, now we got our little pail handle there. I'll be back in just a minute. I'm going to make sure this is nice and secure before we finish on. Okay, we've got our handles on, and yes, you could probably go ahead and hot glue your handle on. I just don't know if I would hot glue this felt part, because you know what's going to happen? If you do that, you're going to see all the little wiggle lines of your hot glue. And here, see with that Fabri-Tac, it's all nice and smooth. And definitely I would do, because see how you can see underneath, but for the sake of this tutorial I didn't. I would probably do 2 layers of felt here. Okay, so it'll probably take you 2 sheets of this felt, or just buy, you know, like a half a yard or however many you're going to make. Okay, but definitely I would want to fill all that in. I would make a double layer so you don't see your can underneath. You could hot glue the handle on. That's fine. I just wouldn't hot glue it down here. You're going to see all your little lumps and bumps of the hot glue. Okay, now, so to hide these little ends here, I like to use these. You can get them at Walmart. You can get them at, this one are actually at Dollar Tree. And I like to use the bigger little pom-poms. They have these cute pom-poms. This is an old, that are got these little spindly things on them. Those are super cute to put on here too. But those, of course, cost more. You could choose, you can stay with, you know, white and choose your color. How cute is that? See if I got another big white one in here. I mixed packs together. I don't, but I have 2 green ones. All right, all these pom-poms are escaping. All right, I've got 2 green ones. So, but the white would be super cute, you right? But let's go with green. Because the reason I put pom-poms on is to kind of act like, you know, like their ear, like the handle is like earmuffs. Okay, and then when you glue the pom-pom on, look at that, dun 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 dun, hides that ugly raw edge right there. So yeah, I would go ahead and you can glue on your little pom-pom here, hot glue. Hot glue is not going to bother anything here. And glue on your cute little pom-pom. Okay, look how cute we're looking. And yes, I had colored ones on my other ones. I did use reds and greens and some whites. I used all 3 of those colors. Trying to fluff up my little pom-pom here. They get all, you know, packaged in that bag, all misshapen. Super cute. Okay, look at that. We got, that's just not glued because of where I cut it off. All right. Gotta love tutorials. I know sometimes I'm like, I wish I want to do them more professional, but we're trying to go quick. So let's just, for sake of the video that's driving me nuts, let's just add a tiny bit of hot glue right there. Perfect. Now we're glued together. All right. Okay, now it's a Frosty the Snowman, right? So let's have some little eyes and nose. So what I did for the eyes is I have these little, they're just wood buttons, and I painted them black. Okay? I did little wood buttons and painted them black. You could do big buttons. You could buy buttons already black, however you want to do it. But I just have a big tin of nothing but these tiny wood buttons, and I couldn't tell you where I got them. So you just glue your little wood buttons on. Just like that. Okay. And then for a nose, you have to buy some orange felt. Okay. And I just freehand it and I make like a little cute carrot nose. So I just kind of like the raw edge and I kind of come out. Sort of a carrot nose, but this is all I did when I did it. And I made just a little point at the top. And actually, there you go, just kind of a rounded triangle form, okay? And I might just go in just a little bit skinnier, cute, just kind of a rounded triangle form. That's all. Just want them really cute, and then you glue your nose on and you got a little frosty. See, really cute. And then you can take really cute like trims and stuff, which I'll grab here in just a minute. If you're a sewer, you can sew right around the perimeter of that little nose, okay? And then that looks even cuter, looks a little bit more finished. But if you're not a sewer, you don't need it, but that is super cute. And then, I've got some fabric over here. Let me grab some fabric. Hold on just a minute. Calling it fabric, but it's yarn. They have this really cute fuzzy yarn at Walmart like that, and I just bought, it was like $2. I bought a whole skein of it. I probably used like 3 feet of it. That was it. But so I cut 2 off like that, okay? And I'm going to take these off for a minute. There's a reason I didn't glue them on. And then I came over to just one side, and just to add a little more texture to our snowman. You do not have to do this. I just want my packaging to be a little bit cute. And then just like that, and then I kind of tied a little bow just to give it a little more cute fuzziness, just like that. Tiny little bow, added some cute fuzzy just to hang down like that. And then what I always do, it keeps falling over because of that pom-pom underneath. What I always like to do is they have these at Dollar Tree. They come 6 on a card for $1. I will use a little jump ring right there, and I'll jump ring it to that yarn there so it's kind of hanging. And I put a little tag on there. This one I created on my computer. It says 1 hug plus 1 gift to you. And I put the little tag on there just like that with the little jump ring. Okay. And then to top it all off, I like to add a little bell. So you have a little tag, a bell, and a cute snowflake hanging from the side. Just like that. Really cute packaging. You have your eyes. You have your cute nose, and then you begin to stuff your pail with your polishes. You can make your own if you want, if you've got a paper shredder, or you go to like Dollar Tree and get those bags of the crinkly paper. I stuff crinkly paper on the bottom, and then I, stuff all my nail polishes and stuff on top, and I let a bit of the little crinkly paper kind of come out around the edges just for cuteness. But that is covering the pail by itself, okay, the can. Now, you don't have any cans. You want to make a little snowman, okay? Let's go on to that. Let me get that ready, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I apologize. You have to be a sewer, some kind of sewing knowledge to make a bag without a can. So, depending on how big you want your bag, really, I'm just, for the sake of this video, going to use another square of this felt. And you need 2 pieces the same size. Okay, and then what you need to do, let's see, I'm going to make my bag, let's make it a little more square versus tall. So I've got my 2 pieces of felt, okay? Then what you want to do is come along to the bottom edge, and you want to cut off, let me look here. You want to come and cut off just about an inch and a half square on both sides, okay? So, and you might want to measure it a little bit better, but I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I'm going to cut off about that much right there. So, yeah, I've got about an inch square. And to make sure that I'm doing the same on both sides, I am going to use that as a pattern. So now you have a shape like this, okay? So the first thing you want to do is you want to sew along these 2 edges here, okay? And then you want to sew this bottom edge here. Leave these little shapes alone. So you're going to sew here and here, and I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, and you can be a hand sewer and do this as well. You just might want to make small, nice stitches. You don't want big, long stitches. Sewed here, the bottom edge in here, and now we want to make our little bag part. So what you do is kind of turn this toward you, split this apart, okay, so got it toward you, split it at the corners and pull it just like that. You see how I did that? Okay, so you've got your bag like this, go in at the corners, pull it apart and this way so that your two sewing seams come together. Okay, so that your two seams come together, and then sew straight across. Okay, and then you do the same thing on this side. Pull those corners so that your two sewing seams come together and sew straight across. Just like that. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, now you have this funny contraption, but we have a bag. Okay, so turn it inside out. And you've got your nice little pleated bottom for your bag. Okay, now we have a bag. I would say for those frosty bags, I'm just showing for the sake of this, I would probably make them more like rectangular, and make sure if you're using these bags to hold like nail polishes and stuff, that you get this is pretty thick. I might go double layered with it. When I did it before, I used kind of, because it was real fluffy, fuzzy, and I liked it, but it wasn't real stiff. So you want kind of a stiff felt. And Walmart has some pretty darn stiff felts. But if it's a pretty flimsy felt, you might want to double layer it. And then I would do the same on the can. I would take that top edge down and make a nice little lip at the top. And then I would probably put a stitch in it, okay? And I'll do that off camera here for a minute. And then also, remember before when we made our handle on the other can, you do the same thing. And I went ahead and I sewed a little handle, sewed all the way around the perimeter with that felt. Same process I did on the can. So I'll be right back once again. We're almost there, you guys. Okay, and so I just kind of did it in the middle. So you have a cute little lip here sewn. And then now you can choose at the seams to sew your handle on, or you can just hot glue it. I think on my bags, I might have sewn it. I can't remember. Hot glue would probably work fine, but you can sew right across and kind of match your sewing perimeter here. For the sake of this video, we'll just kind of hot glue it. And I would probably get like a piece of cardboard or something to put in the bottom of your bag for a nice stiff bottom. Okay, I definitely would do that. Put cardboard in the bottom of your bag for a nice stiff bottom. Okay, all right, so sew across, but for the sake of this video we're going to hot glue, although you could probably hot glue and be just fine. Okay, then the same process, glue our little pom-poms, right? Let's get our little pom-poms glued on there. Cute little pom-poms. My hot glue is not very hot for some reason. Wonder if it came in plugged a little bit. Pom-poms on there. Perfect. We have the same thing. Got our pom-poms. Again with the buttons. Pretty cute, right? You got your little sewn nose. Pretty cute. There is your frosty bag. And then again, you can add your cute little tag from Dollar Tree, your snowflake, your tag on the side with your bell. And see, you don't even have, there's a cute little bell. You don't have to add the cute little yarn like I did. I just, you know, in a bow on the side, I just did it because I thought it added great texture. But there is your bag. And then remember, I would put like a piece of cardboard or something in the bottom to make it more stiff. And then you do the same process with filling as you would the can. The little crinkly paper, your nail polishes, or whatever you decide to put inside, candies, whatever. And you can make these really tiny and have cute little snowman candy bags. That would be darling. You could wrap up your little Hershey bars and things like that and put inside. I just gave myself an idea for next year. Make tiny little snowman bags. Would be super cute. I hope I remember that. Anyway, there's the process of that. Now, the other thing that people wanted to know about was the process of when I made my hats. I talked about putting my hats and baking them in the oven. Okay? It's real easy. I went online and I found a thing how to make like a stiffener, because I didn't want to use my Mod Podge all up. So how to make a homemade stiffener. And the reason I thought of baking it in the oven is because I went to my beautiful best friend here on YouTube, P. She has Whimsical Endeavors. And I'm like, hey, can you bake fabric in the oven? And P knows everything. You need a crafty project answered, you go to P, my friends. She's like, yes, you just bake it at a low temperature on tin foil. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm thinking, why can't you bake fabric if you can bake paper? Because I had made my own little homemade tags and I baked them in the oven, paper in the oven. Why can't you bake fabric? Okay, so I put tinfoil on the bottom oven or on the liner of the oven rack. Oven on to about 200, 225. I think I baked about a half an hour, most times 40 minutes, really low. I do not pre-treat the fabric or anything first. There's no pre-treat or anything. But here's the process of what I did to get it stiff. So you can use Mod Podge. I would suggest watering it down first. White glue. You can totally get glue from Dollar Tree. I think you get 2 in a pack for $1, which is what I've done, but plain white glue. Okay, I'm not going to do the process here. We're going to simulate the process so I don't make a mess. What I did is you want half glue or Mod Podge, half that, half water. So I have these tiny little cups, bathroom cups, and I did little bits at a time. I didn't want to do too much. I just made more as I needed to. But I would fill up like half of this with glue. And then I dump it into, I got a large, this is like a 2-gallon bag, but a gallon bag would be great. Ziploc gallon bag. Half, like this cup, fill it up with glue, pour it in my bag. Come back with water, pour it in my bag. Okay, and then I close my bag up and I mix that glue and stuff up. Mix, 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 mix. Okay, then I wanted mine to kind of smell nice. Nobody really realizes that it smells nice until you tell them, and then they smell and they go, yummy. But what I did is I used my mixture that I used to distress my tags with, okay? And basically, this is just a mixture of water, cinnamon, cloves, vanilla extract. I think I even threw in a little allspice. I just thought of things that maybe I would use to make like pumpkin pie with. Easy. So in a kettle on the stove, I filled it with no rhyme or reason. I just filled it like half full of water. Okay. And then I dumped in like 3 tablespoons of cinnamon. And then I dumped in, I didn't think I had cloves, so I wasn't going to put cloves in it, but then I went searching through my cupboard and I found some. Lo and behold, they were old as stink, but worked perfect for this. So I dumped, grabbed a handful of like real cloves and threw it in. You can get the ground up cloves, that's fine. If you don't like cloves, don't put it in. Don't put anything in here that you don't want to put in. Okay, so I threw in a handful of cloves. And then I threw in about like 2 teaspoons or so of vanilla extract, okay? And then I think I threw in like a table or 2 or so of like allspice like you do for pumpkin pie. And then I cooked it on the stove for like 20 minutes, 10, 20 minutes, just sat and simmered it and simmered it. Now, if you're a person that tends to get headaches like I do, didn't even think about it, the house smelled really good, but after a while the house smelled too much like this stuff, okay? Gave me a headache. So if you have a window you can open, I would suggest opening your window. The next time I made especially when I go to bake the stuff, I go and I open a window and it helped with the smell and I didn't get a headache. So anyway, simmer 10 minutes on the stove. Okay, so in your baggie, once it's all done, you let it cool off. In your baggie, you've got your half glue, half water mixture. You just dump some of this in. There was no rhyme or reason. I just dumped some in. Squish, 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 squish. Okay. Yeah, this is my leftovers. This was full. Now I'm down to about here. Squish, squish, squish in your bag. Okay, then I took, this is felt. All I used, everybody, for my hats was felt. No special fabric, nothing. Felt. Okay, bought it at Walmart by the yard. Used what I want. So I got my cinnamon yummy mixture in there. I've got my half glue, half water in there. I threw this in. Now I will show you with some water, because I want to show you what you do. I'm just going to pour a little water in here. Okay, you get your stuff in your bag, okay, and mix, 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 and you scrunch it, okay? You're scrunching your felt and fabric in this gooey mixture of glue and water and cinnamon and cloves and yummy, yum, yum, okay? Then what I did, and I only did like a couple of pieces at a time. I didn't try to throw it all in at once because I wanted to make sure I scrunched it through. Then you come in and it's all soaked like this, and I literally squeezed it out. Just like that, squeezed it out. And then I laid it out how I wanted onto the tinfoil, okay? And then I put it in the oven and I baked it. If it was the top of the hat, I put like a little crumpled ball of tinfoil inside the hat so that it would maintain its shape. I put that all in the oven and I baked it for about 30 to 40 minutes. When you pull it out, it's a little bit flexible still, but after it completely cools off, it is stiff and hard as a rock, and there you have it. That's how I baked my hats. And I did that for the tags, my paper tags. All I did is when this was on the stove, because this was done prior to the fabric, when this mixture was on the stove simmering, I put like those office tags you can buy at Office Max or Staples. I threw it in the kettle on the stove, and I stirred them all in very gently, and then I let it just simmer and bake on there and everything. Okay, then I took them out, all the tags out, just very gently pulling them out with like some tongs or something, laid them out on a towel. Then I took and let them dry a little bit. Then I took some cinnamon and I sprinkled cinnamon all along the top so it'd have kind of that cinnamon powdery texture. Okay. Then I put them on tinfoil into the oven, baked them about 10 minutes or so, pulled them out, let them completely cool off, and there was my tags. Okay. So the tags are done using this without the glue and the water. Okay. While this is simmering on the stove, again, put your tags in, take them out gently, lay them on like an old towel, kind of blot them off a little bit. I put cinnamon on the top, just sprinkled just a really light layer, not even hitting all the tags. I just slowly sprinkle a light layer across the top. You don't even have to do that. Then I took all the tags off, laying them on tinfoil into the oven, baked them about 10-15 minutes, maybe max, pulled them out, let them cool off, and my tags were done, and I had these cute distressed tags. Okay? There's that fun tutorial. I'll be right back. Okay, so believe it or not, that was the main, this is question and answer as well. So if you don't want to hear me answer some of the questions that were most often asked, you're done with this video, okay? But those were the two main things that people were asking me, that y'all were asking me. How do I do the bag? And, you know, how do I do my fabric in the oven? So a couple of the other questions, they're just real quick questions, but I have, you know, I'll try to answer other little questions as I can, of course, but I wanted to kind of hit the majority of you. People were asking what type of paint I use to cover my candlesticks. This is what I get. It's Rust-Oleum, okay? It bonds to plastic, okay, and it runs like $3.86 or something a can in our area. I like flat, so I go with the flat white. It bonds to plastic, has nice, great coverage, even though our candle holders are glass. Since this bonds to plastic, plastic is what? Slickery and smooth, so is glass. So it bonds really nicely to glass. So this is what I use, okay? There's that most often question. A lot of people want to know about pricing, and I answer this question a lot. But here's my basic rule about pricing, and that's why when I give you a video, I try to tell you, you know, what I do. My basic rule of pricing is each project, take how much it costs you to make and double it, okay? So if something costs you $5 to make, rule of thumb is I charge $10. Now, if I put the whole patching together, there is some offsets to that. If I package it all together and it just doesn't look like a $10 item and it only looks like $8, then I'm only going to make $3 on the project. However, if I have a project I put together and it looks, you know, it only costs me $3 to make, but by golly, with all the packaging and the cute stuff like that, looks like $10, I'll put $10 on it and it offsets the cost that I lost on the other item, okay? Pricing also depends on your area. I live in a small town. It's about 3,500 people. There's also other small towns around me about that, but the main big town next to me is probably 12 to 15,000 people. So we're a little bit in a rural area on the coastline, on the west coast here. And so our people here don't like really high prices. So I generally try to keep all my prices 20 and under. If it was like my home decor signs, a lot of those was 22 and 24. They didn't seem to have a problem with that. But most things I try to keep 20 and under, with my smaller cute like candy items and stuff 5 and under. A lot of people want some gifts, but they're mainly looking in our area gifts for like coworkers and small things they got a lot of people to buy for. They only want to spend $5 to $10 on something, and that's how it goes. I can travel an hour away from here, and something like maybe my nail pails where I might charge $9 to $12, I can go there and charge $16 to $17 really easy. Depends on your area, okay? So that's kind of my rule of thumb for pricing. I think packaging is very important. This to me looks plain. You're probably not going to get a lot of cost for that, even stuffed. The packaging looks plain. Probably what also I would do here, which I forgot to tell you and now I'm thinking about it, is I have like kind of the spray color. I would spray little pink cheeks on it. See my little pink cheeks? I would spray little pink cheeks on it with spray color, or dab little pink cheeks with like paint mixed with water. Really water it down. Dab really cute little pink cheeks on it. And I often talk about, you know, you want to put like the snowflake on it. You want to put a tag. You want to put a bell on there. And that's why I add some of this stuff, because it's cute. It adds to the packaging of the project. Sometimes I might even, like, you can get these cute little things at Dollar Tree. They're little clips. I might add like a little clip on there just to give it a little something even more. And now your packaging's starting to shape up. It's all in the cute little outsides of your package that makes it look like more product, okay? I know a lot of you are starting out with craft bazaars. Don't get discouraged. When it's your first time out, you want to pay attention to the things in your, if you're in a smaller area, you might want to price a little lower. You've been to friends' houses, maybe attended, you know, functions at church functions at, you know, members of the church of their homes. What are people decorating with in your area? Is it mostly country type stuff in your area? Are you in a larger town and they like really sharp, high quality, high end looking things? Do they like really sophisticated? Do they like country? Do they like primitive? Do they like shabby chic? You have to learn to create with things that is most often looks like in your area, okay? And people decorate within your area. So you've got to pay attention to that. If people come to your table and they go, oh my gosh, how cute, and then they look at the tag, and I saw this on my last one. I had a couple of new things, you know, products. Oh my gosh, how cute. And they go right for it and they look at the tag and like, oh, well, and they turn it back over and they leave the product there. It's too high of a price. It's going to sit there. You drop it by $1, I kid you not, and it sells. I did that. I dropped it by $1 at my next bazaar, sold out. You've got to watch and pay attention to people when they're at your table. What are they going for the most? What are they leaning toward the most? What are they paying for in prices the most? And that's where you want to keep your general area of your pricing. And then, like I said, pay attention to decor in your area. What is selling the most at like Walmart? Is it cute country stuff? You know, you just have got to keep all that in mind and consideration when you're creating for your craft bazaars. And don't get discouraged. I hate to hear that you're getting discouraged because, you know, the first year or two might not be your best, but then you get a feel for it. Then you start seeing what people like. Then you start knowing what prices come about. And I've been doing this for a lot of years, you guys, as some of you have done, of course. And then you're going to bring in the money like I did this year was my best that I've done in this area. And, you know, it was quite a bit of money, but I created the product to do that. another question. And so you'll get there. Just don't give up. You'll get there. Another question is, I usually start my bazaar. First bazaar is middle of November, and my last bazaar is the first weekend in December, and I usually start about September when I am creating things. So that is something there for you too, because a lot of people want to know, how far ahead do I start? I would be really smart if I started way early in the year, but I just never seem to find the time. So I like to stress about it at the very end and start around September. Only this year, because I had shoulder surgery, I couldn't start till like the middle of October. I didn't even think I was going to get to the first bazaar. And so I was, you know, the lady, I'm like, how late can I call you? I just don't know if I can do it, but I was able to get some out there. So this year I really stressed, and I was staying up till 3 in the morning most nights getting stuff done, but it's because I couldn't. Let me see. Really quick, I've got 2 minutes. Salt glitter mixture. Someone wanted to know why you're using salt versus just using glitter. I like the mix of salt and glitter together because I like the texture of the salt. If you just use glitter like on those styrofoam balls, it's flat. You have a little bit of texture, not much. But I mix the salt and the glitter because I like all that texture. Okay? I love that texture. You know, when you see snowballs outside, they're really textured, right? They're not all smooth. But if you're low on funds and all you can afford is just to do the glitter, then just do, keep sticking my fingernails, then just do the glitter. But I do salt and glitter because I like the texture. And yes, you need to spray it with some kind of sealer. Now, the sealer is not going to eliminate all the fallout, okay? The sealer is only going to eliminate probably about 85% of the fallout. You're still going to have a little bit of fallout, but it's going to eliminate most of it, okay? And I've had a few comments on here on my videos about people, they use hairspray as a sealer. I've never tried it myself, so I don't know if it works or not, but it certainly sounds like a great idea. So if it doesn't work for you, then I would, of course, use some kind of sealer, and I just use sealer in a spray can. You know, you go in the spray paint section, you can buy clear coat sealer, really cheap. That's all I use. Okay, let me think. Rusty paint. Oh my gosh, someone asked me about rusty paint. When I painted my bells, they look like they were rusted. This is what I used. It's a rusty paint. It's called Viva, and it's rusty paper. And it's like really thick paint with like a sand in it, and it looks kind of red here, but when it dries to a really dark brown. Let me show you that here really quick. Okay, so this is what it looks like coming out of the jar. This is what color it gets. See the difference? And I love it because it looks rusty. It's not supposed to be rusty. It just kind of, to me, has the appearance of rust. And rust is usually textured, kind of brown in color. So I love this. My cousin sent this to me, and I love it. And there's other ways you can get rust. There's certainly a lot of people mix the different alcohol inks. There's, you know, Prima has stuff out that you could, Prima Marketing, that you could certainly do a couple of different techniques and create rust. But I am impatient, don't have the patience for that. I love this stuff. And you can add more sand to it, which I haven't done, but my cousin told me that to give it even more texture. But I love this because it just looks old and rusty, and that's what this is. The rusty paint. That's what I was talking about in my video. Someone asked about my printer. You know what? I have the most cheapest printer I use to print off my cute little tags here. The cheapest printer in the world. It's like $39 at Walmart. I don't use my good Epson printer. It's just HP DeskJet printer, $39, and it prints perfectly wonderful for my tags and everything. Okay, transparencies that I print on, I buy those on eBay. They are transparencies for inkjet printers, and they say that on there. Or you can buy the overhead transparencies, and I also get those on eBay. And I think you can buy most of those even in, you know, like Staples or Office Max or something like that. The difference between the two is overhead transparencies are smooth on both sides. Inkjet transparencies have have a textured side so that it can run through your inkjet printer, and they do make transparencies as well for laser printer. But that's what I use, and I just usually go on eBay and I find, you know, killer deals on those, even better than like going to Staples. Okay, so I think I am looking at my paper. I think I covered everything. Most questions. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was a little bit long, but I wanted to try and get the majority of the same questions I was getting in a video for you, plus a few of the shorter tutorials for you. I thank you for sharing your time with me. And if you have any more questions, comment down below. If I didn't cover something or didn't explain something good, I'll talk with you again soon. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you're not a subscriber, hit the like button. Thank you for sharing your time with me one more time. I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.